There are a lot of ways to play No Man's Sky. You can be a trade lord who's loved by every faction in the game and gives away free money in the anomaly, but you can also be an absolute d*** who's a menace to the whole universe, grieves low-level players who didn't disable their PvP, and kidnaps them into their suspicious Corvette. Anyhow, there are so many more methods to play the game, and new players have to learn a lot about No Man's Sky's mechanics, as the game as a whole can get very complex. Whether you're a beginner or someone who's been playing the game for a longer time, there are always new things to discover, some of which can change the gameplay for the better. In this video, I will show you a few tips and tricks which are both beginner and pro friendly. I don't want to yap too much, so let's dive right in. Starting off rather small on number 10 is Iteration Helios. You can find Helios in the anomaly, and if you approach him, he will usually ask you about certain planetary data. If you do give him the data, he will give you a sum of nanites, which can vary. But you can also ask him about derelict freighters, and if you do that, he will give you an emergency broadcast signal scanner, or whatever it's called. You can use those scanners to locate a derelict freighter. While you can also get them from the scrap dealer for around 5 million units, with the price increasing every time you buy a new one, Helios will give you one completely free of charge. Just keep in mind that you can only claim one once per week, sadly, but you can't have too much of everything good for free, right? Sad reality. On number 9, we have something that is rather unpopular among the NMS community, or pretty much any community and in any game. It's inventory management. Inventory management can be a pain in the bum, and you might want to avoid that, but did you know that Hello Games has finally listened to our laziness and has implemented a very nice feature for that? If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see these buttons sticking out. And these are there for their exact purpose. You can sort your inventory by name, by value, by color, and by type. And it literally does what it's supposed to do. No more precious time wasted on sorting that inventory. No, instead, just press on a button and maybe you'll find some things you thought were lost sometime in playing the game, so... And another thing that is pretty awesome regarding buttons is the fact that you can bind things from the quick menu. Yes, that's right, you can simply press Ctrl and a number from 0 to 9 to bind certain functions from the quick menu. For example, I always press 9 for photo mode instead of directly searching it out, so... Yeah, the game is perfect for lazy people. Okay, no, that's a joke, but... Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know, no offense, whatever. You can pretty much do anything with these keys. You can bind the photo mode, or you can even bind dancing, it doesn't matter. It's literally anything is possible with this feature, and I love it. Number 8. This one is especially for early game, as you do not tend to have a lot of money at first. However, there is a method I find particularly interesting that can land you some decent starting cash. Use your analysis visor to look out for salvage data, looking like this. You can find them on pretty much any planet. Apart from their initial use of unlocking building parts of the anomaly, you can absolutely sell them as well. Harvesting these comes with no risks and no sentinel alerts like with Gravitino balls or similar. Harvesting a few dozen of these, which works fairly quickly as they're pretty common, will grant you a few $100,000, which is fair cash in the beginning. Another awesome and more profitable method, you can use both of these simultaneously, is smuggling, although you need starting funds to get the contraband, which is where I would use the salvage data method at first. I recommend 300 to 500,000 units and find an outlaw system first. If you manage to do that, simply go to an outlaw station and then buy some contraband, which is always shown at the top of a merchant NPC's wares. Keep in mind that finding an outlaw system is quite a gamble if you do not have an economy or conflict scanner yet. And also keep in mind that outlaw stations only have NPCs as merchants, so do not go and look for trade terminals. When you got the good stuff, simply establish a base in that system with a teleporter in it and then teleport back into a regularly controlled system. A space station is obviously ideal. You can then sell your items there and get a lot of cash, approximately doubling what you paid for the wares in the beginning. You can also go the harsh way by using your ship to warp back into a normal system and then sell your wares. Especially in the beginning, repeated smuggling this way uses up a lot of warp fuel, plus the risk of getting caught by system authorities or pirates, although it's almost always the latter. I personally haven't had system authorities scan my cargo for years at this point, despite doing a lot of smuggling, so yeah. But if you do ever get caught by either of them, simply call in the anomaly to escape any consequences if you're too weak to fight them or just want to avoid unnecessary conflicts. Boarding the anomaly during fights comes with no punishments at all, and you can just escape any conflict, and yeah, that's it. Number 7. No Man's Sky has 3 currencies: units, nanites, and quicksilver. And there are many different ways for making each one of these. Nanites are used for upgrading the class of your multi-tools and starships, as well as acquiring many technologies and upgrade modules. But unfortunately, they aren't as easy to acquire as units. Although there's a suspiciously easy way to get these that is often overlooked. It's scanning fauna. The fewer the fauna, the easier it is. If you scan all fauna on a planet, you can get a total sum of 1,000 to 3,000 nanites. Just don't forget to claim your reward in the fauna register like this. Just beware of underground creatures, as these only spawn in caves and are a menace to find since they are still very rare to spawn no matter the rarity. You can also get a shiny and pretty rare achievement for that. So, if you want to do that, then go for it. With number 6, I've got another good way to make nanites. Distant planets are mysterious places in the No Man's Sky universe already. The pink crystals protruding to the surface adds this eerie vibe, alongside the purple atmosphere. One thing you will find pretty frequently are radiant shards. They are shown on the analysis visor so you can easily locate them, and they are pretty close to each other. But did you know that if you put these into a refiner, you'll get 50 per shard? Cool, right? They don't take as much time to refine, and one stack, which you can acquire fairly quickly, it gives you 500 units. Unlike runaway mold, which is quite rare and can only be found on certain planets and takes ages to refine, as well as many fuel refills if you use a personal refiner, this method is much quicker and much more safe. I don't know if it's just me, but I just wanted to say this, as I have noticed that the radiant shard method works much better for me. Anyways, time for number 5. For many quests and location-based expedition objectives, you get a quest marker when you have to track down a location. However, in 9 out of 10 cases, these only show the approximate location, being quite a walk away from the wanted location and expecting you to walk there, searching with your analysis visor. However, if you press H while you're in your ship, you can view the full UI as well as the actual distance to the location. It might be a little search to truly find it if it's something smaller like a grave, because the location's direction might keep changing since it's not straightforward, but you'll eventually find it without that walk. It's definitely easier to find it with something bigger, like a trading outpost. This is especially great if you're on an extreme planet or one that has aggressive sentinels, where you usually want to minimize your time on foot if you're only there for the quest. Moving on to number 4, when you're mining, it's much more efficient to edge your mining beam. Sorry, I couldn't find another word for it. Compared to mining with a cold beam, a hot beam mines things, especially larger, such as trees, much faster. Especially without upgrades and with early game multi-tools, this is a great method to mine basic resources like ferrite, dust, and carbon. It doesn't have any consequences for your multi-tool. Just don't let it overheat fully, because then you have to start over from zero. Number 3, a fairly small one again, but still cool. If you don't have a solar ship or self-charging launch thrusters, starting your ship sadly takes up a lot of launch fuel without recharging. So if you do find an outpost with a landing bay, better use that instead of the good old ground, as that won't drain your launch thrusters at all if you haven't noticed. That's essentially their use, apart from calling your ship. Also make sure that you use them on your base. Although we sadly do not have them for corvettes yet as of right now, so that sucks. But still a very nice detail. Moving on to the last two tips, these are probably the most helpful you can usually use in No Man's Sky. So, number 2. If you do not have one, you should definitely invest in and use a freighter. You can get one for free by rescuing it from pirates, although this only applies to the first freighter you buy. You have to pay for the ones you get afterwards, and these can be quite expensive. This doesn't just apply to major dreadnought attacks, as a regular pirate ship attack is just enough for them to hand over their freighter. And unless you want to spend a lot of money later, it's better to look at the class as well as the layout you want. Stop putting those bulky storage containers into your base and put them into your freighter instead. With the matter beam upgrade and the freighter in your system, you can access your storage containers at any time, saving up any materials you've got without taking up much space in your inventory. Also use the scanner room, which immediately discovers all planets in a system if they're unknown. This is especially useful if you're looking for a certain planet type and don't want to go out and scan every planet manually and warp to another planet and scan every planet manually again and so on. Give it more life to make it look more homey. Although I did not include freighter bases in it, I have this video up on better base building, which also includes interior design, so if you're not good with that, go and check that out if you wanna. But here's sadly a disclaimer. Upgrading your freighter is extremely tedious, unfortunately. You have to pay a lot of salvaged frigate modules, not salvage data, salvaged frigate modules, for the different drives and other upgrades, and they are very hard to get. You can get them from frigate expeditions, Nexus missions, or derelict freighters, but only in small quantities. It did take me a longer time to upgrade my freighter fully, and it's still not done. But once you have upgraded it somewhat decently, it's absolutely worth it. No more bulky storage containers in your base, no more manually scanning things, plus you can profit a lot from the frigate expeditions if you do them as well. And last but not least, the big number 1, stock up. I can't emphasize this enough, and I will say it over and over again, but please stock up, especially you beginners. That's not supposed to be mean, but still, it's something you should definitely do. Dedicate a few hours of one of your No Man's Sky sessions into grinding resources, especially in the beginning, and gather yourself a huge amount of basic supplies so you won't have to go on constant resource gathering microchips for every tiny base or item. I've had this experience myself, and let me tell you, when I was a beginner, this was so tedious. I sometimes just quit because I was tired of constantly running around gathering resources, going back, building a little bit, running around gathering resources. Same for certain items, just the basic resources and basic crafting items, okay? Use the mining beam with the overheating trick or an exocraft laser if you have one for maximum efficiency if your mining beam isn't as upgraded. Assuming you don't play the game 24/7, this should definitely last you a few months. I personally did this around 2 years ago and I'm still stocked up pretty good, so I occasionally do have to rebuy or regather some smaller things, but apart from that, I haven't really spent another big session on simply grinding. It really helped me a lot. Craft basic components like carbon nanotubes and metal plates. If you have at least a few million units, buy them in bulk at space stations, which is my favorite option. Although, like I said, you shouldn't do it if you don't have a lot of money. You have other things to spend your money on at first. Since you probably do not have more than a few units unless you did a lot of smuggling or farmed so much salvage data you went crazy during the process. No, but really. Put recharging resources in your inventory at all times so you always have a supply and do not end up stranded. So guys, that is the whole video. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you learned something new. Maybe not lore details this time, but rather gameplay tips. Let me know what you like more. Is it lore details, is it game details, or is it something like this, or maybe something entirely different? And since my finals are now officially over, I can say that I have time for videos somewhat again, although I still have other hobbies, so bear with me. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And for now, that's all. Fishmaster out.